choreographer and keynote speaker with over 3 decades of experience in dance, production, and leading teams and talent from Hollywood to Broadway. He has made guest appearances on So You Think You Can Dance, Dancing with the Stars, Jimmy Fallon, and Ellen. He was the creator of the acclaimed off-Broadway production, Boogaloo, which we should know already. Creative director of LA's Canaan Arts Foundation, and has collaborated with the Tony Award-winning directors of Hamilton and Jersey Boys multiple times. Bradley developed Groove Theory, a framework to re-engage and activate the workplace, helping leaders create atmospheres where productivity, creativity, and well-being soar. His first book, Step in the Circle, is set to be released in 2025 this year. And now I can welcome Bradley. All right.
So thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Just a little backup. You heard me this morning, and I just wanted to share that. So obviously, all of our lives, there's so many details, so many backstories to the backstory. And it's interesting, when I started in dance culture and sort of left what my dad was hoping I would do, and I got involved, I didn't know that I was going to learn about who I was through the dance culture. As I share what I call groove theory, and I talk about stepping in the circle and bringing to people and leaders and businesses, the real actual idea behind a lot of it is all of us, each one of you, has something that has become a way that you learn how to be free, how to be yourself, how to step into your identity with who you are with Christ, right? You have that thing. Mine was dance. It might be sports. It might be different things that you went through where you thought, man, this is where I really I'm just in it right there. And what I came to find is that once I understood that because of this culture, what was so unique, not only to this culture, but in terms of dance, street dance culture is very unique within the dance cultures because I've worked with pretty well all the disciplines of dance over the years, and they're incredible, right? But there are many that you can become an expert at that dance style, only training with one person and just getting the actual routines down, and then you become a master ballerina, for example. You teach under one coach for years and be one of the best ballerinas in the world. And that's excellent because they're being trained to reproduce those classic movements perfectly, right? And there's a gift to that. Street dance culture, no. It's more like hoofing and tapping. It's like street dance culture, you're doing something in your uncle's garage, and then it's jam over here, and then you're over in the basement, and then it's never the same, and you are guided in this culture that as soon as you get like a little piece of it, you got to put in the circle. You're not given time to kind of, give me a second, I don't know what I'm doing, let's do this, you got to go and do it. So it gives this great, I didn't realize when I first started, I was scared to death, like, why? But it gives this great ability of just quickly, there's a book called Scrum, and the idea of getting in the Scrum right away, testing, in terms of a business sense, right away, you get the idea and have an environment in your company that allows for you to put it in action in some way that you can get into the live activity of it rather than waiting for some great proposal that you do and it just falls flat because it never had any testing with it, right? So this culture, what was amazing about it, initially for myself, I thought, and everybody's different how they approach it, I thought it had to be great to go in the center. I thought it had to be as good as Dan was to go in the center. I thought it had to be like at the top game to get in the center. So all the years as I was going through initially, I would see Skeeter Rabbit or Rob Vincent or whatever, and I'd be like, I'd be dancing in a circle, oh shoot, he's here, dang, he's here, oh shoot, he's here, and all that kind of stuff. And I finally realized, which was beautiful, that the culture does so well, once you grasp it, that it just asks you to, as you learn the styles, as you learn the techniques, apply them how you would. That's all I want you to do. So, just for a second, I have someone, can you stand up for me, please? So, come and stand right here for me in the center, and just face this way. Face there. All right, just tell me how you're feeling now with everybody staring at you. How are you feeling?
A little exposed.
A little exposed, all right. Anything else?
No.
Nothing? But a little subconscious?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think you have to do anything?
I'm hoping I don't have to.
Perfect. That's great. And so what would happen often, like, when you stand in a circle, thank you for being so honest, give me a hand.
That was good.
And and you often think, right, that you're starting to already say, how should I do this? What should it look like? What's it supposed to look like? And the way that you're going to contribute the best for the company, for yourself, for your family, for whatever, is that you're being you, really. The you're designed to be, not just a random you. And there's a lot of layers to this, so I obviously in 45 minutes we're just going to touch on a few things. But I wanted just to preface it by saying, when I talk about stepping in the circle and this culture of dance that revolves around a lot of what we call freestyle. Freestyle is not winging it. That's not freestyle. What's that painter's name? The paint.
Pollock.
It's not Pollock. Okay. I'm not. Again, there's a skill to that. But I'm saying it's not just throwing paint against the wall. That's just winging it. Or I don't want to describe him, but it's not winging it. It's not faking it. That's not freestyle. Freestyle, in its true sense, should be connected to foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Freestyle should reflect who you are, in the true sense of the dance culture and then in life. So some people say, I'm doing freestyle and whatever, and I'm taking my clothes off, and well, maybe it reflects who they are. But it should reflect who you are, and that's also indicative of, okay, who do you think you are, right? So, for example, if I lie here on the ground and just bang my head on the floor, well, I guess that's freestyle, but what the heck? So it should, if I'm doing true freestyle, if you're doing true freestyle within your work, in your workplace, doesn't have to be dance, whatever it might be, I can look at it and I might go, I've never seen him do that before. Man, that's so inspiring. That is amazing what he's doing. But I shouldn't go like, oh man, that's not really him. You know what I mean? That would be where you're off the rails of who you are. Because it's like, no, that's not it, right? So when I talk about freestyle, it's not just, I can walk into a store and start breaking windows and slap people in the face. So I just want to make that clarification. And so the beauty about the culture is that it was the one that trained, or that I think God used to guide me into who I was. It just is what He used. Because I was drawn to it, and nothing else was making sense, and there's a lot of more backstory that I won't share right now. But it just seemed to answer those questions, but as an answer to them, it made me face all my insecurities, all my doubts, all my stuff. Because I was going into Compton and different areas of LA. Sure, I looked like I looked, but I was still a Canadian boy. But I'm going to die today. I'm going to die right now. And, I would go in there, and then I'd be around these guys, and I just, was trying to be so many things. And finally, I realized that even the toughest, dopest dancers just wanted me to be me. I thought I was supposed to be as good as them, or, you know what I mean? They just wanted me to learn how to pop, and now, how do you pop? How do you, they just want to see what I do with it. They didn't want me to do what they do with it. And that's the ultimate for all this process, is stepping into who you're designed to be, leading others into that. And then, for me, my experience is that as you find, other ways you've done it, you might have done it through music, or through business, maybe through cooking, maybe through whatever. Those things that make you feel that you're just in the zone, are you taking those lessons you've learned and putting those in other parts of your life? That's what I started to do. And it really really got into its shape, because I was an adjunct professor at the University of Southern California for 6 years. And I taught lectures on street dance, history and culture, and choreography and performance. I taught a lot of hip-hop classes as well. And as I taught over the years, I was like, man, there is so few people that are going to be able to get out of this and do this. It's just a numbers game, like anything, football, and how many athletes can actually make it to the NFL. It's just a numbers game. So I got very focused on how can I help their life? How can I help their life? How can I help their life? And I've been saying this phrase for a long time, it's not the move, it's the groove. It's not the move, it's the groove. And I meant it, it's not the move, it's the groove, but I really understand what I was saying in a life lesson, any type of application way. So as the students came in, the first, every semester there's a whole bunch of new students. And they would come in and go, hey, prof, so, hey, we're going to learn the new thing, the new that, the new this, the new the jerk, the new crumpet, whatever, we're going to learn whatever. And I'd say, I'm going to teach you a lot of foundation on a lot of stuff. But I really want you, my hope is that you learn how to dance. And they go like, what? And they were kind of offended, you know, we dance, you know, that's what we're here. I'd say, okay, and I usually would put on some music and say, let's dance. And usually they'd get out there, and generally, they would get out there and kind of move around for, 15, 30 seconds, and then they'd stop and go sit down. They'd go, well, the music's still playing. Why? What happened there? Oh, we did our thing. I said, oh, okay. I get it. You know, I said, that's cool, but you're missing out on what this culture has to show you. Because when I had to just do this morning, right? And I kept it as simple as we could do it. You know, Mason said, just keep it to the Mason two-step. And if you, for example, just do this, I mentioned it to someone in the break, and not that this is about dance, but just in terms of this, if you just did this yourself, and if you committed to this, saying, I'm going to do this for 3 songs at home, to whatever songs you like, and I committed to this, well, unless you're really stubborn, you're going to start to move around, you're going to start to dip. You don't have to think of any moves at all. You're going to lift your arms. Right? It's not the move, it's the groove. The moves, there are no moves without the groove. This all relates back. Now, I don't share this in everything I do, but this relates to my faith. I'm talking the groove is God's spirit. It's His creation. That's what this groove I'm sitting in. Right? I'm using these analogies to the idea that if you live your life based on moves, now moves in life. So moves to dancer, you know, it's the running man, right? There's reject, there's all these different moves, right? But in life, there's just as many. Our resume is a move. Right? What's another move you guys might think of in life besides a resume? That's that kind of thing. It's important. Moves are important. They're valuable. They have impact, but they're not meant to have lasting impact on their own. Actions. Speaking. Your skills. Your knowledge. The letters behind your name. Your zip code. Those are all moves. They're valuable. But you don't lead with moves. You lead with moves, you walk in a room and all you do is, okay, I gotta make sure this guy was a good dancer and a good choreographer, I gotta make sure, and that's all I'm thinking about. I gotta make sure this guy knows that I got skills and then how to plumb. You know what I mean? You don't lead with moves. You lead with the groove. You walk in a room, and the groove then snaps you to the present, and you're going, I'm just gonna, I'm trusting, I'm here, and I have time to now, and I trust that the moves will come out as they will. I'm not, they're there, they're part of me, right? Moves are my training. Moves are my knowledge. They're all just moves. They're good moves. But I'm not leading with my knowledge of whatever, Pythagorean's theory, whatever. I'm not leading with that. I know it. It's there if I need it. Because otherwise, you're going to miss out on what is around you. You might be in need. You're going to be so focused on a move that you miss out on the need that someone has because you're so focused on the move that then you're not there to be what the real purpose is. So I started to work with the students about saying, I want you to learn how to dance, to eventually dribble that to, it's not the move, it's the groove, to eventually the groove is the dance. The groove itself is the dance. It's the groove that is guiding us. So that's just kind of where that background starts, and the idea about the street dance culture. I was able to learn so much of this because of its demand that to belong, as I mentioned earlier, and to be welcomed, you must step in the circle. So for example, you can be at a business or an organization, and you actually can kind of stay way back. You can sort of stay way over here, right? You can sort of stay here, and you're still in the company, and you're still, you can do that. You can't do that in street dance culture, meaning they're not going to, beat you up. But you're not, they're going to go, no, he's not really down, They're going to go, oh, he always comes in. They know you're not in. If you want to be in, you've got to step in. And you've got to get past the idea that you think you've got to be great. And eventually you're like, oh, they just want me to go in there. Now, of course, they do want you to respect the culture. You can't, have no respect and you haven't tried to train a little bit and get some of the skills and come back over here and go, okay, how does this pop and go? Or how does this go? And so you try and you get a little bit better and get a little bit better. Yeah, that obviously is important. But they just are looking for you to step in. That's it. And honor the circle. So, that's just a little preface there of just sort of the thinking, the backdrop. So what I want to do in our short time together is let me do this. I'm going to talk about the framework of the circle. So when I go to corporations and companies and places, there's different levels of what I do. But generally I do keynotes, I do interactive training, I do team building. And depending on how long I'm there for, I will do the sort of a breakdown of the circle framework, which we're going to just touch on today in a short time. And sometimes I do different levels where I do sort of more past the individual growth to the group. And I'll bring in live musicians, a live drummer, a live dancer. We'll start doing even more analogies to sort of go, see what that is? That's what communication is like. See what that is? You know what I'm saying? So I go over there. But today we're going to sort of focus on just the layers of the circle and the framework. And I'll get you guys involved in this a little bit too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe what I've broken down to is the framework of the circle. If I see they have this, is there a Sharpie? Did they give me a Sharpie? They did, yes. So, kind of small. I'll just fall apart as I bring it closer. Nope, good so far. Okay, so, let me draw a quick circle. I can. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's not bad. So, the framework of the circle. I mentioned this before. What's great about thinking about a circle, not saying we are in our businesses in circles, because in our offices we're sometimes remote, sometimes we're in rows and this and that, but if we start thinking about the perspective, meaning we're treating our business like a circle. So in a circle, the leader is on the same level playing field. If it's not a circle, the leader's up on the stage and somewhere over there. But in a circle, there's no difference. I'm amongst you. We're on the same level playing field. We're all united together. As I mentioned, everybody has seen, if you did a full circle, right? There's no one's hiding anywhere, right? If you're not in the circle, then you can drift off, you can go on your phone, you can sleep at the back door, right? There's that idea that you have to engage. If you all own the idea of a circle, you have to be engaged and be part of it. Otherwise, the circle falls apart. If it opens up, it's gone. It's not a circle anymore. So there's that idea of how we look at the circle and how we now, a circle makes you, it forces interaction. Because I can't, well, if it was a full circle, for example, if I stood like this the whole time, then what happened? I mean, these guys back here would be like, these are bad tickets. So I'd have to kind of do a bit of this. And a bit of this, and then a bit of this, and then I'm over here. It forces interaction. I even like when I do even business trainings, I will have circles as much as possible, or at least a U shape or two big U's, just because it just changes. But the shape is godly unique. It's continuous. It's endless. It gives that idea that it's coming back around. That there's another opportunity that's still moving through. It's not linear. And when I talk about the linear versus the circle, I'm not saying linear is all bad, but I think there's a lot of focus on the linear and the transactional that gets us pulling away from this idea of what ACS stands for, right? Which is relationship over transactions. So the circle has that idea. The circle has an initial automatic unity and all these things. So now I'm going to describe fairly quickly, but just going to go through the layers of the circle and what they represent. So we have. This is my beautiful drawings. Oh, where did I put the red one? Okay, this. So on the outside of the circle, we have what I call the exterior, right? Just the exterior, which is kind of self-evident. So you have this exterior. So on the exterior of a circle, right? This is when you haven't even started to join that group, or you haven't started to try to connect with your people, or you're like thinking a new venture, but you haven't made a choice yet. You're deciding. But maybe you're drawn to it. And the exterior represents when people in their life or in dance are not even joining yet, but they want to. There's sort of four archetypes that I see with that. And the first one is the victim. And that's just the person that just feels like, I'm always rejected. There's just no way, I'm not going to bother. No one ever likes me, right? That's the extreme. Then we have the prideful, right? The prideful. The prideful is the person that goes, I want to be part of this group, but they should be calling me. Where's the phone call? Where's the invitation? I should be invited. And then there's the envious, the ones that they actually want to be part of it, but they're envious, so they kind of start to deflect and say, that's not so good, that group's kind of whack. because they actually are a little envious, they don't go in. And then lastly, there is the mind reader, which we do a lot of, right? I'm not going to be able to do this right. Do I look good enough? Did I have my hair done right? Do I fit in? Am I going to be qualified? All these things. The mind reader, where we're starting to try and figure out what the person is. When I go to meet you, and I go to your office, I know when I've gone to a lot of auditions. I've held auditions as a producer, and I've gone to a lot of auditions. And I walk in that room, so there's, look at it, don't change anything. Just look at it right now. Just look at him. Look at him. Okay. Now, if you don't know, and you're a little insecure, you can be going, oh, shoot, that guy looks like he's totally ticked off already. Like he's not very happy with it. Like, you just look like he's mad. In fact, you're not really the picture. Like, you can start thinking in your head all these things, right? Oh, this guy, he doesn't take any notes. Can I make him laugh? He's not going to laugh at all at my jokes, right? Whatever it might be.
Yeah.
We start to do all this nonsense, right? That's the mind reader. We've all fallen into that. I can tell you, I think you probably can all give me examples of this. I've been at many of my auditions that I've auditioned at where I've gone in and total disasters. I mean, like trying to say the lines, I mess up the lines, I fall down the thing, I leave it going, oh man, that was the worst thing ever. Get me home. Oh, you booked it? Like, that's what happens, right? And then you do something else and you nail it. You nail it. The interview, this, oh man, you're like, yeah, that was so good. And no, right? So it's a waste of our time and it's unfair to the person because I've been on the other side. I'd be at shows and we'd be doing back-to-back auditions for different things in Broadway and different shows. They're coming in. Listen, we're dying of hunger. We're trying to eat in between. And so they come in, sometimes we're serious. We're like this. And I'm sure they're going, oh man, what am I doing here? We are just tired. We're actually hoping that everybody is great. That's actually the reality. So the reality is that, and jumping ahead a little bit, is so often, and as business leaders and that, when people come in, you don't want some person that's totally off-hinged or maybe just doesn't have themselves together in a real way that works for the company. But really, you're hoping you want them to be great. You want them to be excellent. You're hoping this is the guy. And that's what is the reality when you enter a circle. Most circles that are of value, they are going to want you to be good, want you to help. Now, you may not be the right fit, but that idea of trying to read the mind is it's the wrong place to put your attention. So, those are the 4 archetypes. And then what I'm going to do right here, I'm going to go through these archetypes just briefly. I'm obviously kind of fast-forwarding through this, so we have a chance to do some of the activations. I'm going to do some of the archetypes, and then I'm going to have you guys write on a little sticky. Start picking something in your mind. It might be a relationship, a business thing, a challenge you're going through, and then you're going to write on your sticky, whatever that is, just put your name, and you're going to stick it on the sticky where it goes. Make sense? Yes? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so exterior, outside the circle, and those 4 archetypes that I gave. All right? Right? Okay, next one is the edge. So the edge of the circle represents you're on the team. The edge of the circle is you are basically, you made it. You got hired. You're part of the club. You joined that organization. You're there. And so you're absolutely in. You're like, you guys right here, you're in. You guys are still exterior. But you guys are totally in, right? So you're there. So you're on that exterior. It's awesome. It's great. And you need people on the edge. The lights got to be turned on. The machine has to run. But the edge is challenging because the edge, after a while, it's easy to stay on this edge and just get kind of status quo with the edge. And it's okay to be on the edge is needed, but what I mean by status quo, where you want to stretch a little bit more. You got some opportunities they may be taking, you're maybe kind of starting to, what I call, imitate yourself, and just kind of repeat cycles that get the work done. Maybe copy that guy a little bit, imitate him a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I call it getting stuck in the edge of imitation. You start doing this. When you find you haven't stretched yourself for a while, then you know you're on that edge. You know that you're on that edge of imitation, and you need to get off that edge. So, the people that are not getting off the edge, the repeaters, the retreaters, and the dreamers. So the repeaters are those that just keep repeating what they do, as I sort of mentioned. The retreaters are those that they start to hide within the organization. They kind of doubt their ability to measure up, so they start to just kind of do what they do, just stay there. And then the dreamers are those that are like, they want to do everything. They want to get in that circle, but they just keep dreaming it with no action. You know, it's all thought with no action. And so that is the idea of those levels. So that's the second level. And you don't want to be that sort of edge of invitation. So third level. So we got the edge, the exterior, the edge, which is right there, and then that's this. And then right here, I call this the shallow, look at that beautiful writing there. This is the shallow end or the inner, shallow end or the inner layer. So this is, you're here on the edge, you're part of a team, right? And then you're like, okay, yeah, I got to try a few things, make a presentation, and you kind of get started, and you just kind of go, ooh, you get off the edge, but you don't go there. You kind of don't get there. So you have actually got into a dangerous spot. Because this spot is where the edge is where my perfectionists live. Perfectionists get stuck there. But now, the perfectionists kind of live there, the lone wolves are out there, but now on this inner layer, this is really dangerous because this is where the people that cry wolf are, the people that keep telling you 100 times, I got the proposal, I'm going to do that. I'm really going to do that show. I'm really going to put that together for you. I'm going to get that together for the company. We're going to do that thing. And they keep coming back and telling you they're going to do that thing. And the problem with that, this is the most dangerous place to be. It's kind of weird because you all want to get to the center healthily. But the inner layer, because you stay there for a while, you keep promising and pushing dates back because you're getting the perfectionist wheel set. You just kind of keep changing the date, keep promising. Well, then you lose the integrity of your company. Because now it's like, Stephen doesn't matter. Yeah, thank you. I mean, you're awesome. That's a great idea. He's not going to do that. So that's a really dangerous spot. Inner layer is a dangerous place to get stuck. The inner layer is only meant as a direct on-ramp to the center. So in the center, in the inner layer, the edge, repeaters, retreaters, and dreamers. And so now this inner layer that I just mentioned. We'll go. Are you guys with me?
Yeah.
I copied that line from, what's he say? What's his name? He says it all. You with me?
Sure.
Kurt, are you with me?
You with me?
Are you with me? Yep. Okay. Good. No, he's awesome. I just love that. Are you with me?
Did you have a question? Can we ask a question?
Question. Yeah, hit me.
So I love all this theory.
Yeah.
Do all step? I know nothing about dance
Yeah.
and what you're describing
Yes.
basically, but does everybody know this? Or is this like your own theory that you come up with?
Oh, I would say this is my theory.
Okay, this is not like universal knowledge.
This is not just knowledge. No, not
Whatever.
I would say it is connected to actual archetypes and such, but this idea of step in the circle, this is mine.
But wouldn't you say
yes.
this is an unadvertised
Yes,
part of the culture?
absolutely.
So if you went to a breakdancing competition, everyone would know all this stuff.
Oh yeah, that's
and
my
he's
question.
paralleling this to business and real world.
Right, now they wouldn't necessarily, and they wouldn't necessarily
No, but they know who the edges
they wouldn't
are.
they wouldn't say, I'm on the edge, I'm kind of a victim. They wouldn't say, but they would know.
They know.
They know, oh yeah, that's Joe, he never goes in this edge.
Well, no, they're not going to dance
He
either.
never goes in. He always gets.
That's right.
You know.
He's a watcher.
You've seen that when people kind of do that when the circle starts. They go up. And they kind of stay kind of here, and they kind of want the attention of being in the center, but they're not really in the center. They're kind of,
Yeah.
they're staying right here, and they're like, hey, you see me? And so you go, right? You know those people, and you don't want to be that person in business. So yes, so I would say this is a framework that I've put together based on my experience in the culture that exists. The culture would not every street dancer or hip hop guy would say, they wouldn't know what I'm saying by the words I'm using, but they would know this
By definition.
by definition.
And by where they are.
By where they are. They know. They know.
Yeah.
And then you should hopefully, what I'm hoping that hopefully, are you connecting to some of this idea in your life? Okay, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the main thing. So now, lastly, this time is so fast, this is ludicrous. Okay, there's a lot of depth and you'll read it in my book.
Bradley, while you're looking that up, who are the people that run across the center and do a little skip, hop, jump, and then get across to get out of the center? I mean, you see that all the
Me-
time.
you-
Weddings. Like, they'll do a quick,
They get in, but
You
then they
mean
get out.
quick
They
run
got
by.
pushed.
Yeah, they do a quick run in and out.
Go ahead, go
I don't know if you have that.
No,
in
no,
your-
no, no, okay. You know what's funny? This is, in one of the sections which I talk about, getting to the center, and it's, for a second is, I talk about getting staying in the scene. Which is basically, has anybody here ever done acting classes or anything like that, artistic classes or acting? Okay. So, if you're practicing a scene, and this relates again to a presentation, this relates to actual life in your business and in your marriage and in your family. Really, it's like that idea, you don't just give up and walk away. There's a rule in the circle, you don't abandon the circle. You don't abandon the circle. So, if I come in street dance, in an acting class, and let's say I'm doing some lines, even this morning, I'm saying my lines. Let's say, imagine I was doing that presentation this morning, and there's a part where the mic fell, it fell out of my pocket, and I didn't know what was going on, and I thought I dropped it, and I didn't know if you could hear me, and I had to kind of, just adjust. I could have gone like, imagine I went like, oh, can we start over again? Right? But sometimes, that sounds ridiculous, but that kind of stuff happens, right? Someone in an acting class is going, okay, so, and now Julia, I just wanted to tell you that you were the girl of my dreams, and now in his head he forgets for a minute, so he goes, and he's finding little words. But while he's taking that pause, which actually for you guys is fine, you're like, oh, he's thinking about this, he's welling up the idea, he's getting ready to tell Julia something. He just goes, oh man, I'm sorry, can I just start over again?
Right.
Right? You got to stay in the scene.
Yeah.
You got to stay in the scene. It will come back, and it will come back differently. And you'll just, but if you just allow yourself to get, again, we'll get to this more, I'm going to get to the answers. So right now, I'm quickly trying to give you that setup, and then give you sort of answers. These are now more, here's the problem. I want to give you answers so this will relate to you. But if you don't stay in the scene, then obviously you lose, but you miss the opportunity that actually no one knows that except you.
Yeah.
No one knows what's going on in your head, right? Even if you're like, they're going, I don't know what your head's going, I don't know what I'm doing. What do I do this? Okay, I'm here. I'm supposed to, okay, wait a minute. All right. Let me just ground myself for a second. Actually, you can even notice with different speakers. And I don't know if they're doing, you can get some guys that take a longer pause. And
Yes.
you don't know, are they lost? I'm not saying lost, but they might just be, hold on a second, lost my place. Or maybe, okay, God, you're saying something, wait a second. You know what I mean? And if you trust that, then you stay in the scene. And the more you're able to do that, the better.
Sometimes that's done to grab attention though.
Yes, exactly.
That pause is, for Julia, we all think that we don't know you forgot your line. We're thinking, wow, he's really emotionally getting involved here.
Yeah.
He really cares about his answer. He's talking to Julia. He's gonna come out with something good, and you're thinking like, I just totally fucked up.
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really, truly so valuable to stay in the scene. And so now, that person, what I'm getting at with that person is jumping out of the scene. They're like kind of, and I'm like, it's like when we've all done this one, right? We're walking from a hotel room to the meeting, and we're walking by them, we go, we trip, and we kind of, we're trying to, No, we usually do this, actually. It's usually this. Right? But the point is, it's like the way you just play it off. It's okay. We say in street dance, you turn a mistake into a move. You stop and you go, oh,
Fall. Roll.
exactly. Yeah, but there is there's beauty in that. When you make a mistake, and then you sort of see where that, all of a sudden you're in this weird position, and then you come out of it. Like this. Next thing you know, people go, what's that? I go, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did. It's like we get a thing, I don't know what I said. I was here. He said that, I saw the pattern on the shirt, and I got kind of lost in it. Then I said about plaids, plaid of white, and I started doing, you know what I mean? And next year I was like, oh, I don't know what I said. You start trusting the groove. It truly is this exercise in trusting the Spirit, I believe. It's this grounding of just knowing that I can just offer what I have. I'm going to just do this thing. So now, the center. At the center, look at this. Oh wow, I skipped that. I actually skip that. We got to go fast here. So, the inner layer, I didn't say the architect. I gave the architect from the outside. I gave him for the edge. But now for the inner layer, the ones that went halfway and got stuck there. They're the ones that do a lot of comparison. I call them comparison pros. The focus moves from stepping directly into the circle into and who they're designed to be into wondering who's their competition around them. Then there's the perfectionists. That's also the ones at the inner layer. And the people pleasers. I know that one, inner layer. Those who overpromise. They overpromise all the time because they don't want to offend anybody, so they get themselves caught in knots of their own words. Then there's those who cry wolf. That's also the people. Those are the people that kind of get here. They cry wolf, or they're perfectionists, or they're people pleasers. That. So now the center, and I apologize for kind of ripping through so fast, but we got like 6 minutes.
Better pressure on.
And yours, thank you! I said that for a reason, yes! Actually, the last time I choreographed, Dougie Fresh was a special guest. He was
Shut up,
yeah, we got a long talk. It was awesome. All right, so the center, when we get to the center, and now we're here. So I had my man stepping in the center, feeling a little. What are some common things when you, and again, we're using the center as an example, not that you're on a stage or in a dance circle, but when you're also thrown into a position where you are now the leader, you are the focal point in a sense for leadership, the attention's on you. What are some of the things that come to your mind sometimes?
You better perform.
You better be good enough.
Blind spots.
Blind spots. Am I good enough? Am I qualified? I'm not ready. I don't know how to do this. These kind of things. So, the center, these are again the ways that aren't the healthy ways to go in the center, right? One is the prover. I sort of mentioned that this morning. Where their focus is on, I've got to prove myself. I prove myself to my dad, to my uncle, to my fourth grade teacher, to myself, to my coach. And it's easy. This one's the hardest one because we've been raised in this culture. I mean, my whole life, you guys, right? Think about it. We got to prove ourselves. We feel like we're proving ourselves, whether it's sports, whether it's anything. Right? We've been raised in this kind of twisted idea of proving ourselves, I think. I don't think there's anything wrong with excellence. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying this idea of proving your worth. What does that mean? You better prove yourself, son. Think about it. What do you ask when you're a kid to do? You better prove yourself.
Yeah.
Prove yourself worthy. What?
Become a doctor.
Yeah, become a doctor. That's right. So the provers, right? Provers that they feel they got to prove something. They carry a heavy weight. A heavy weight. I think we all carry some weight of proving. Then the imposters, right? The ones that feel like imposters, right? We just feel like maybe we're coerced into the center, maybe we were forced in, we got a promotion we didn't expect, or maybe we're just there and we're still like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then there's the pushers, the ones that kind of will step on toes and do whatever they can to get in the center. They don't care if they hurt people's feelings. So those are kind of the archetypes. We're going to have to skip this part. Stay at your seat. Just imagine we have the exterior, the edge, the shallow end, and then the center. So if we had more time, I would have you come up here with stickies on the board and say who you are and kind of have a little bit of a discussion. But since we have 5 minutes left, how could this be done in 45? I usually have 90 minutes. Usually it's 90 minutes. I was like, oh, 45 is plenty. Well, that's pretty quick. So, but you guys have been great. I appreciate you guys connecting with this. So now I'm just going to go through really quickly just some ideas to help you think this through. I find that the biggest, for all the archetypes I gave, for the exterior, and of course some of these will bleed through to the center. But for the exterior, meaning you're feeling like a victim, you're feeling like the archetypes I gave you for you're going to be rejected, you're feeling like those things that keep you on the edge. You're envious, you're prideful. Really, it's one simple word, and there are other things, and again, you'll read them in my book, but there are other things. Curiosity. Curiosity is the simplest thing. It's the simplest cure for almost anything you're entering. It's as simple as that sounds. Because the main focus of curiosity, like I'm curious as to him, he's obviously checking his back, he's a little sore, lower back, some lumbar issues. No, but curiosity, the immediate effect of curiosity is I take the attention off myself. And that is the actual cure for that. Because usually you're out here and it's all self stuff. I'm not, I this, I what. Then you go, oh, what's that emblem on his shirt? I can see what it is, but actually, why are you wearing the shirt? Is that the team you play? I'm getting curious. How do you like shoes? Where do you buy those shoes? You know, and not just randomness in a sense, but you're just curious about that person, about the people, about the team. You know, you buy a new car. What do? You go to the lot a bunch of times. You get to know the salespeople. You know, I mean, but next thing you know everything about that vehicle, the thing, the rims. You actually you're part of you become part of that culture just by that intent curiosity. You actually are part of the culture of the car you want to buy because of just now you're invested in them. You're invested in what they do, what they're looking for, what do they need, what does their company need, and then you can see what can I really offer, what am I really going to learn here? Oh my gosh, I love what they do. This is so cool. The curiosity just pulls it all away. And then you might be curious to find out, I don't really want to be part of them. But that's the number one mind shift to get off that edge. So I'll leave it at that. There's more, but let's just jump with that. Curiosity is the best one for there. Now with the getting from the off the edge, I'm just going to jump down to these. I'll give a couple here. So when you're on the edge of a new team, a new group, dance circle, whatever, there's a lot of activity, there's a lot of input that you're getting because you're just new. You're getting a bunch of jobs to do. You're learning the new ropes. You're getting the agendas you have to do. You're on the team, a lot of activity, a lot of action. So you can get overwhelmed by the stimulus of all that stuff going on. So on the edge, the idea is to just be inspired by what you're seeing. And I say, I choose to be inspired rather than having to acquire. I choose to be inspired, inspire over acquire, inspired over acquire. So as I see, I'll put it to dance for a second, and I see somebody in the circle, and he's got to hit some cool footwork like that, then I might go, man, what I want to do is go, I like footwork. You know, what? I don't want to go, what's his footwork? He did this, and did he do that? Did he do this? No, I want to just go, I like footwork. Where's that going to go? You know, with it. I'm going to be inspired by what I'm seeing. The proposal, I don't want to go, I have to do a PowerPoint just like he did. Well, that guy told jokes. Oh, gosh, man, I got to tell jokes now. No. I like humor. How do I do humor? I'm going to be inspired about having to acquire what they did.
That's good.
That's a great way to think about getting off the edge. There's a number more, but I'll just say, I one of them I said stay in the scene. Stay in the scene is part of that. There's also the grace to stumble. I think we all have, I described the wedding thing to you this morning, right? And, except you missed it. I'm just kidding. Were you there this morning?
I missed it.
Sorry, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding. See, I'm curious.
He's honest.
That's right. But no, with the wedding circle, right? We all have that in that example. It might be you guys might be the ones. That you go to that wedding circle, there's that one cousin, that one uncle, that one person that they're always, every community gathering with the family, they're always like, you know, they're in there and they're kind of whatever. And they're not drunk, they're not inebriated, they're just having a fun time. But what can happen is we can stand here and go, oh, there's Uncle Merv. My Uncle Merv was like that. There's Uncle Merv, man. Oh, man, he's always... And then we start to make excuses. Oh, man, you know, he's older. He's got that cool goatee. He's got that hat. He wears that jacket. It's so cool. And he's from New York, you know. And we start to make the excuses because we are choosing to put a separation between the freedom he has and the freedom we have. We're saying we do not have that same freedom. He has it, we don't really now. He can have that. We're deciding that he has more ability to step into that openness that we don't, which is a lie. It's a lie. So it's giving yourself grace to stumble, meaning to make mistakes as you go and walk in that freedom. So that's just a couple more. Jumping down now to the inner layer, where we talk about competition. And we're almost home. Hang in there for me, peoples. Okay. So, on the inner layer, when you get stuck in the inner layer, obviously the one thought is don't fall back in the line. What that implies is don't fall back in the linear way of thinking. Don't fall back to transactions. You moved here, don't fall back and I got to do this, to do that, to do that. Don't fall back to the line and just going, okay, I've got to be good enough. Just, you're stepping in the circle. It is a continual deepening, pulling back of the onion, layer by layer. You're learning, you're growing, you're being stretched. Don't fall back in the line. You want to release control of the outcome. That's the biggest one, which is hard for all of us. But I think it's the biggest, one of the biggest gems we can remember is we have no control over the outcome. We just don't. We can do our best, even our best preparation. I made a post in today. I said, go move from what should be to what could be. And so, it is good to say these are some standards we live by. These are excellent standards, but you take that effort to do that. You don't really have control once you kind of do it. Unless you're keeping control of it, but then it stays over here. And it's not released. If you release something, you have no idea. Like, who thought that Tickle Me Elmo post was going to go viral? Like, you can't make that happen, right? You can't plan for, I like when people say, Bradley, we're going to make a viral video. I'm like, you can't. You can't make a viral video. You do a video and it might be viral, And so it's that whole, you can't control at least the ultimate of that. And then, as I said in the talk, you choose the circle over self. You choose the circle over self. So I'll leave that alone. I got to skip to the last thing, to the circle. And this is really why I want to get 2 more points as we take this home. So when we go to the circle, I'll just give you the one main thing, and I mentioned it. So, come, can I have you, sir, stand in the middle?
Oh, that's the guy. Yep. Now we're there. Now we get the group. You can tell he's got discernment. Got the group.
Got the look.
The group.
Okay.
Doing good. Just tell us about yourself.
Bill Harris from New York. Yankee fan, Giant fan, Knicks fan. Rangers, Liberty.
You do radio voice? Because you got a good voice.
No, but I've always wanted to.
Oh, wow, wait a minute.
No, it's not too late.
Not too late. Podcast.
Podcasts and all that kind of stuff.
Now, how do you feel about the attention you're getting? Not in terms of insecurity, but how intense do you feel it is right now?
Actually, so I like look around. I wasn't feeling intense. I was just.
But here's the amazing thing. It is a fallacy again that right now, everybody look at him. Just everybody look right at him. Look right at him. Look at him. Look at him. Keep looking at him. Now, keep looking at him, even as all of us look at him, the reality is our eyes only give the direction of where we're looking. But I might be thinking about my wife. Did I leave the stove on? Did I get a note from this last one? You know what I'm saying? The idea that all eyes are on me, the scrutiny is that deep, it's just never true. It's just never, you guys over here, as I've been talking, some of you have been, clocking in, clocking out, tired, you're doing it, you're paying attention, it's all different levels. This, again, mind kind of thought of like, oh, I got to figure it out, I'm the 8 ball, they're scrutinizing my shoes, my pants, this, I got the wrong belt on, why didn't I, you know what I mean? You might, for example, right now, you might think something, you might not.
Just fix this here, right here.
But see, for example, he might be.
He's an attorney, he's an attorney that just goes to like
Like,
40
it's funny because right now you look perfect to me, like great to me. But you might have said, well, I was making this, I said, man, why did I wear the shirt today? Whatever, right? I'm saying, like, you'd be sitting all this stuff, and we're like, we're not seeing that. But the point is, our attention, our eyes, this idea that we're being scrutinized, it's not possible. Nobody's brain works like that. Neither does yours. So, good job, man.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Wonder how long it's going to be.
Yeah, no, this is the thing.
I have good specimen.
It allows you to, in a sense, laugh at the idea. Like, a lot of really.
Yeah.
Like, you look at people and go like, what are they thinking? I know, I wouldn't say that. Huh. Like, I'm just looking like, and now I'm like, I don't know what he's thinking. He could be thinking about all sorts of stuff right now. I have no idea. But it's like, it takes the pressure off. Right? And actually, to be honest, as you know this morning, I almost kind of said I was going to pull someone on stage for a second. Right? So even people, sometimes they're there going, oh please, don't get me involved. Don't get me involved. Don't get me involved. Leave me alone. Don't get me involved. Right? So then again, they're looking at you, but they're way over here. So the whole idea of the scrutiny is just not really real. But those are some of the aspects to remember. But the main thing that I mentioned in my talk is that I said you're not a math equation. I said you're not gravity. Stop trying to prove yourself. I say this, what you do in the center, and this is symbolic to leadership, symbolic to being in a position where of authority in a sense, you are just offering what you have. Now we've all been given much, so we can offer much. So that's the we just got to do whatever, and just be casual with it.
Come on, man.
But we offer what we have. That's it. That's all you can do. You got all your knowledge, your thoughts, your moves, your this and that. But I can come out there, I can give you a resume of my life, and it can have all this dance choreography, blah, 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 blah. But somebody say, I don't like that guy anymore. He used to do that. You know, I can't prove, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I just can't go, hey. And we, you know, and now I'm curious, and I'm here, and then I might work out, I might not, I sell what I have, I do what I do, but I'm offering. This gift is the shift. It is the shift. When you start realizing that you are offering, you walk into any room, any situation, you are not, you trust that the stuff you have within you is in you. You obviously prepare as much as you can. You can't do any more now. So don't sit there trying to hold it up here. Okay, I gotta hold that up here, because it's gonna show in your face, it's gonna show you disconnection. You're gonna just offer what you have and then be curious and be there and be responsive. And that is the gold. When I say the gold, that's the gold in terms of getting to represent who you are. And now you just pull back from the pressure, you've got to be something perfect. So now stand up with me one more time, last time. Was that helpful?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So now, just for 1 minute, I want us just to step side to side. So nice, yeah, any way you want, just any way you want. All right? Move your arms a bit, if you can. If you can move those arms, you can snap. Nice. If we had time, I'd have you all go in the circle a bit, one at a time. We don't have time for that.
No, it's not the Glenn show. She said it's just the Glenn.
By the way, this is not, and no one, keep going, don't stop. This is not something you're going to win, or you're going to be better than everybody else. Does anybody, would you do me a favor? Keep going, don't stop. Take that in the center a little bit. Take this a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, there. Don't change the thing. That's it. Give me that high five right there. Take that.
Oh, he feels good.
All right, everybody stop. So 2 things. One is, if ever you're about to step in the circle, right, we've hopefully clarified that that's not just a dance circle, that when you step in those positions, you're to be who you are designed to be. You might be exploring more of that as you go. You get in that circle, and believe me, that's how the actual culture and life grows. I get in and think I'm just doing this, and all of a sudden I hear the different beat, and I start, it grows because I'm connected, not because I'm trying to do a move. I'm not leading with the move. I'm leading with the groove, and then the groove starts getting me doing things, and then I start connecting more and more. But the point is, if I'm at the side here, I don't think, my turn to go in the center, oh my gosh, I better dance like Justin Timberlake. Or Michael Jackson. Or, you know what I mean? Because then you start, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, just if I'm the side and I'm doing, if this is symbolically my groove of the day of what I'm doing, well then when I enter, I just do this. That's all I'm going to do. I'm not doing anything else. And then when I get here, I might go, oh, and then,
Yeah.
but I'm going to do this. I'm not going to be doing this on the side, and then also go like, oh yeah. Right? And coming with what you have and trust that that's there. Now lastly, we've all stopped now, and I know you will get this because of NCS that we're at here, is that we just trust that even in the silence, even in the stillness, whether this was going to our next meeting, that we trust that the groove is still there. It's not just there when the music's on, or we're moving. We might be in a meeting. It might be very quiet. Might be very dead crowd. Might be a slow presentation. Might be unfriendly feelings in your mind. You trust the groove is still there. All right, guys. Thank you.